You are now tuned into the sounds of
Big Nate Sports Talk.
It's on all the time, anytime.
Lately my thoughts got me distant. Darker days filling up darker minds. Stuck in this room that keeps spinning, wondering how you been, where you hide. Late night drinking, wishful thinking, what if you were here? Morning waking, heart still aching, something about the way you make me feel. I don't wanna mess up your night, I don't wanna put up a...
You are now tuned in to Big Nate Sports Talk, the show that's on all the time, anytime. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for all content. And now, ladies and gentlemen, your host, Nathan Snell. Bring your sports game with Big Nate Sports Talk.
Thank you, Mr. Anthony Handy, for that introduction. As we are progressing with episodes, this is episode 2 of the podcast, season 13. In this episode, we're recapping Maryland women's basketball. This is part 3, as you can the title of this video. Couple things I want to get into. So I started actually writing for the Lady Terrapins with shout out to Maryland Sports Blog's website. I started last year. I've had a couple pieces out. I still need to get the previous one out. We just beat Rutgers, excuse me. I'm still working on that piece. Please check that out. I'll probably, if I remember, leave that link in the description. It's been an interesting season so far for Lady Terrapins. We start off the year on a good note. There are some things that we do need to work on. I do have some concerns about. We're going to start with the Minnesota one because that was recent as well. These wins, Minnesota was our last true non-conference matchup. I thought the keys in that game was our defense, paved the way. There's some things that we do need to clean up on the defensive side. You know, one thing you're going to hear me talk about this in the Rutgers recap is that we're starting to play more Big Ten opponents, and each Big Ten opponent has a post player. Maryland doesn't, obviously. Maryland clearly lacks that this year. But the one thing that stands out to me is that 1-2-2 zone that Brenda loves. Force turnovers, control the tempo. I think it starts with our leader on the defensive front, Cheyenne Sellers. Just everyone was active hands, and I thought forced Minnesota to take shots with little to less than 5 seconds on the shot clock. She did have 13 steals in that game, 19 points. The one thing that is concerning. He did score 30 points in the transition off 23 turnovers. But the one thing that I'm not fond of, I'm not liking what I'm seeing, is we're not taking advantage of utilizing our freshmen. I think there are certain matchups that work, and there are certain that don't. And that clearly shows at times in certain games. When I'm looking at the Minnesota game, look at the Rutgers game, we'll talk about this a little bit in a minute. I think there's certain lineups that don't work. I'd like to see Mila Reynolds definitely get some more touches, opportunities out there. Brianna McDaniel has been balling lately. She's been picking it up. I think she's starting to adjust and starting to see what she can bring to this Maryland team. I mean, remember, I think Gia Cook, Avi Scola, Mila, they will get comfortable with it as well. But one thing, I'm not going to panic right now because they're young and they're still learning. They did have a little bit of a minor speed bump going into the second quarter. Minnesota kind of clawed back the way there. I would like to see situations like this where the freshmen get involved. How do you handle this adversity, these moments? And for the most part, we did well. I mean, it's a Minnesota team that I think it's going to be a good program for years to come. Lindsay Whalen's building something great there. Shout out to Lindsay Whalen. But obviously, Maryland did well. The biggest question I think that had been for the Lady Terrapins starting this whole coming this year after the departure of the transfers is how does this team chemistry-wise look? And to some they're overachieving, but to others they're exceeding expectations. So you can't ignore that. Now going into the new year, we are facing a Rutgers team. As we all know, the great coach V. Stinger last year announced her retirement after 50 wonderful years coaching basketball, arguably one of the best women basketball coaches in the game. First ballot Hall of Famer, without a shadow of a doubt. This Rutgers team still has her fingerprints on it. Coach Washington, who was announced as her successor. We all know the job that she did at Penn State. She built that program up very well. Give her next year and year after Rutgers up. Now, coming into this game, this is a Rutgers team that only had 2 scores in double figures. That was a bit of a question mark for me. I was trying to figure that out. Why? The biggest thing is they lack scoring, other than those 2. But Washington played against Ohio State, if I remember correctly, a few weeks ago. They, for 40 minutes, will play some defense, which shows great tenacity, in my opinion. That's something that you obviously want to see in a program that's clearly in rebuilding mode. But watching them play against Maryland, obviously that Diamond Miller's from Jersey. So I think I forgot, Somerset, New Jersey. That's where she's from. Offensively, was a little bit of a struggle. Diamond started off 1-8 from the field. I thought we did a great job. I thought the energy was there. We're forcing turnovers. At one point, Brenda reverted to a 2-1-2 zone, exploited their offense. I thought at times we kind of gave up the zone a little too much. I thought we kind of got a little too slow on defense. There was a lot of opportunities where Maryland was playing at a fast pace. I mean, they forced 22 turnovers while committing just 10 for us. It's interesting, the last 2 games, we have scored 53 points off turnovers and also having 25 offensive rebounds. I think what has to change is we have to continue to be better with the ball. Being better with the ball. We have to make better smart decisions with the ball and getting others involved offensively. When I'm looking at Gia Cook, for example, not throwing any shade, but she was 0-5, only played 7 minutes. I see the potential of where she could be as an explosive guard, but it would have been nice at times if we had given her easy shots. The same thing. I feel like Brenda, she's one of my favorite coaches, but Brenda has this tendency, particularly with freshmen, and this has been documented, where it's a trust thing. And, well, okay, one mess up, you're pulling them out the game. Instead of saying, let me help you. Let me help you get an easy look at the rim. Let me help you get a better shot. I mean, she was taking some good shots. I mean, she was very exposed to them, but they were tough shots, but they could have been smarter shots. Lavender Briggs, Brene Alexander, Um, other than those two, the key for me in the second half of this season for the Maryland Lady Terrapins is a couple things. They have got the others around Diamond Miller have to be consistent with scoring. Diamond Miller's going to get her shots. She's going to get her numbers. She's going to have struggle. Particularly good example. She finished this first half 1 of 8. The others around her picked it up. Like she averaged last year 19.5 points, Lavender Briggs, 19.5 points with Florida. Now you come in against Minnesota, 15 points, 5 rebounds, and a couple steals and assists. Now here's Lavender Briggs. You're giving her the opportunities to show what she can bring to the table. And I mean, Lavender Briggs is a dynamic scorer, not just on the offensive side, but as a good defender on the other side. I mean, she's definitely struggled the early part of the season, but she's starting to pick it up a little bit. So we really have to give her flowers, because a couple weeks ago, Brenda Freeze did call her out and saying that we need her to step up, and she's delivered. Brene Alexander, if there was a 6th Woman of the Year in college basketball, she's deserving of that. A transfer from Vanderbilt University. I mean, she is defending our opponent's best post player. She's bringing energy not only on the defensive side of the ball, but the offensive side of the ball when it counts. She's getting us buckets. She is a really good piece that we've picked up in the transfer portal, and I'm loving that. But the others, I'm talking Faith Misamanus, Abby Myers, Elisa Pinzon, Cheyenne Sellers. They're going to be the keys around Diamond Miller. Others they've got to be able to pick Diamond up some nights if Diamond's having a bad game. But they're going to be the keys for me, because we're starting to face opponents: Michigan State, Michigan, Ohio, Iowa. Those are going to be some teams where you can't look to Diamond to be the having 20 points a night. Maybe some nights where she has 10 points, 12 points. So it's going to be up to the others around Diamond to say, let's take some of the load off her shoulders. And that's also going to be on Coach Freeze. But I would also like to see some injection of the freshmen into the game. Now, we did see that, but again, they don't work with certain matchups and certain lineups. It'd be nice to see where Mila Reynolds if you could put Mila Reynolds in there. Particularly, we got Michigan State, because Michigan State has some girls that are 6'3", 6'4". So that's going to be interesting to watch how they defensively contain their bigs. I think that there's a lot to be proud of when you're looking at this team, but there's still room for growth. We're on a 5-game win streak. Confidence is high. I did a Twitter space. I was able to ask shout out to Cheyenne Sellers, who joined the Twitter space. I was able to ask her a few questions. They're just playing ball, and they are, as Coach Freeze said at the beginning of the season, is how do you define your legacy? And they have not disappointed. So I'm very proud of this team right now. I'm liking what I'm seeing. The biggest thing for me is we just got to keep the turnovers down, which has been good. We have been playing at our pace. Offensively, there's some things we have to clean up. But when you look at, again, when you had 22 assists compared to 10 turnovers, as Coach Freeze said in the postgame, that's valuing the game of basketball. And right now, what I'm seeing these last 5 games from the ladies, we're valuing basketball, and you're starting to see some things being picked up. Now, like I said, there are some things that we do have to continue to build on, and I think you will see that as the season progresses. So I'm very proud of these ladies, and I can't wait to see what we look like against Michigan State. I am hoping it's not like Wisconsin. I'm just going to leave it at that, because I really haven't recovered from that loss. So yeah, other than that, let's just get into the final part of this episode, and that is final message.
Incoming message.
Thoughts are running through my mind. Someone took some time to find a minute or two to organize them.
The one thing that I found profoundly disgusting. I'm not going to say who the person is, but they are a huge UConn fan, University of Connecticut Huskies. Put out a tweet that I found was very disturbing. I don't know who said it, but there was this tweet in saying, I'm just quoting what they said. Apparently somebody has put this weird, someone obviously being an attention seeker and stating that, let me find it. Hold on. Let me pull out my phone. I'm going to actually read you guys the message of what it says. And I quote, implying that Paige was on drugs is crazy, distasteful, and outright ignorant, especially when you thought nobody heard you. I don't know who said that. I don't know if that was in a Twitter space. I don't know if it's the YouTuber that I'm thinking of, because the person who I'm thinking of that may have said that has a tendency to make crazy, wild content on who says they're growing the game of women's basketball, but in reality, they're making misogynistic, sexist comments. This particular YouTuber did a whole live stream on Angel Reese apparently taking performance-enhancing drugs. Ricky Jackson at Tennessee, and obviously making content on Courtney Williams and calling her ghetto, EBT, all this other stuff. And I have a feeling it may be that particular person. But one thing, ladies and gentlemen, is that we have to be better when we're saying we're growing the game. We can have differences of opinions. We can agree. We're all having conversation, because that's the whole point of growing the game. But when we make ignorant comments like that was said in that tweet, not by the person who said that, it was what they heard. And it might have been in Twitter space. I don't know where that came from. But I thought that was very, very disgusting. We have to be better, because I'm hearing some of these conversations, not just with women's basketball, not with college, but with pros. Sometimes people just need to just stop being diarrhea at the mouth, listen, and educate themselves. So don't feed into that kind of nonsense. Obviously, people just say anything for clout and look for their 15 minutes of fame. So whoever that person was, they got it. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to end the episode, because I don't have time for that kind of crap. I don't. Me personally, whoever said it, I just block them and keep it moving, because you don't have time for ignorance, especially when you're having a conversation with sports. That's just me. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, please like, comment, subscribe. Thank you for tuning in this episode. Be tuned in for episodes. Episode 3 will be up in episode 5. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I will catch you guys on the flip side. Y'all have a good night. Peace. Stay up.
Thank you for tuning in to Big Nate Sports Talk. If you enjoyed that episode and you want to see more content, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Bring your sports game on Big Nate Sports Talk.
It's on all the time, anytime.
Thank you. And you help me retain my sanity. Thank you. I want to thank you. And I want to thank you. All I want to do is say thank you for everything.